What up? Welcome. Week 1 almost in the books, Perloff, for the NFL. We got Monday Night Football tonight. Of course, Russell Wilson goes back to Seattle. We've got so many things to get into today, but we start the show with the Dallas Cowboys.
Yikes.
And it is getting out of hand fast. You know, that we generally call this overreaction Monday, but there's no overreaction in saying that the Cowboys season is on the brink of spiraling completely out of control. I do not see an easy fix in sight here, and I'm not even quite sure what their options are at this point. So what we have is the latest. Dak Prescott obviously injured his hand and his thumb last night and left the game, but we're hearing now surgery, 4 to 6 weeks. But I'm always a little dubious of that timeline because it's literally the throwing hand, and gripping the football, Perloff.
Yeah.
So even if it's 4 to 6 weeks at best, what's he going to look like when he comes back? The backup quarterback situation is laughable in Dallas right now. And quite frankly, the whole offense that scored a whopping 3 points last night against the Bucs is in major trouble.
That's the question I have. Does it matter if Dak is there or not? Did you see anything last night before Dak Prescott got hurt that made you think the Cowboys are going to win that division? The run game looked good. Ezekiel Elliott did look good. He's a guy you've been sort of touting all offseason. We'll see how long that lasts.
Yep.
But the pass game, I hate when everybody's right about something. And everyone said the Cowboys should not have traded Amari Cooper for a late-round pick and not gotten anyone else, considering that Michael Gallup is still hurt. And man, did that turn out to be true, because Dak Prescott didn't have chemistry with anyone, including his number one receiver, CeeDee Lamb. I don't think the Cowboys are going to win with or without Dak Prescott.
Oh, boy. I mean, see, that was the argument, though, is you could look at the Cowboys and look at what they had lost on the offensive side. You could look at the injuries to the offensive line. Oh, by the way, they lost another starter on the offensive line, Connor McGovern, last night. He has a high ankle sprain. But you could look at it and say, well, at least they have the best quarterback in the division. At least Dak Prescott is there. At least, he's the one who will be the rising tide who will lift these boats. But if Dak Prescott's going to be out for any significant amount of time or limited, then everything you were falling back on that could have saved the Cowboys season now just went up in smoke. That's where I'll disagree with you. I think that if Dak was healthy, maybe this offense had a chance. But without him, I mean, no offense to Cooper Rush, but the Cowboys sort of botched this whole thing. Now, what I think is really kind of funny is Stephen Jones now going on radio. We know Jerry Jones was talking to the media yesterday. He's the one who gave everybody the update on Dak having surgery, going to be out. He's an open book when it comes to this stuff. But then you had Stephen Jones talking about Dak Prescott this morning on 105.3 The Fan.
That's what an owner, the son of an owner, has to say, right? He's talking to stockholders. He's talking to fans. I don't know who he's talking to.
Yeah.
Who would possibly believe that Dak Prescott is built to last when we're seeing his career play out the exact opposite way? He is injury prone. There's no doubt about it. I know he can't answer that question, but do you have any doubt that that's who Dak Prescott is?
Well, this one is a little tough. You hit yourself on, Shaq Barrett's helmet, if that's exactly what led to this thumb injury. I don't know if that's just bad luck, but to ever think that after what we saw in the 2020 season, which is the season Dak Prescott got hurt, and Andy Dalton, your friend, had to come in and try to save the season, they finished 6-10. And once you get a taste of that, which is your quarterback goes down and the season was over. And I know the defense is better now. I know Micah Parsons was getting to Tom Brady last night. I know there are brighter spots on the defense, but you already watched your season go up in flames when your quarterback went down. To think you would not have a better plan B, it to me is laughable. And that is where the Joneses, especially Jerry, it almost seems like they're looking for someone to blame. And then they realize, oh, wait a minute, we're the ones who make the roster. So here's just Steven also talking about CeeDee Lamb. And obviously he did not have a good game yesterday. So here's now the blame being divvied up right in CeeDee Lamb's direction.
Yeah, I'm with him. CeeDee Lamb, I thought, hurt Dak Prescott last night. I don't know about the subtleties of route running, but he is not like Justin Jefferson. If the ball is in the area of Justin Jefferson, he's going to snatch it out of the air for the Minnesota Vikings. CeeDee Lamb, it's got to be perfect, or he's going to drop the ball, or he's just not going to grab it. Now, here's the thing. Whose fault is it that CeeDee Lamb is the only target that Dak Prescott has?
Thank you. That's
You're
where
right.
I'm like, the Joneses are delusional because you're saying he can work his way up to be the number one receiver. The season could be over by the time CeeDee Lamb is working his way to be the clear-cut, no doubt, one of the top receivers in the league, which you actually need him to be because you didn't give your team enough weapons to surround CeeDee Lamb.
Well, okay. Now we're getting into a sensitive area, though. Did you see any plays where Dak Prescott had a pocket to throw the ball? Offensive line play.
Yeah, no, it was an issue.
Yeah,
if Jason Peters is suiting up week 2, though, I really got to hope he does.
I think you're still in good shape with your argument.
With my argument,
offensive linemen are replaceable, but it does take some time. They need Jason Peters better show something. Yeah, Connor McGovern's out. I thought the line was the number one problem, especially pass blocking, because Dak was desperate. He just looked out of sorts the whole game.
Yep.
It doesn't matter anymore. Dak's hurt.
Yep.
They're going to be too far behind. I know their schedule is easy. They are not the favorite in the NFC. They weren't even, by the time the season started on DraftKings, they had already fallen behind the Eagles.
Okay.
And that was before this week 1 disaster.
The Eagles, who we'll get into a little bit later, but got off to a pretty good lead, but then couldn't cover against the Detroit Lions, but squeaked out of there with a win. And then whatever Carson Wentz is going to be, I still don't know what I watched yesterday, and I've dissected that a couple times. And then you have Giants with a miracle win. We'll see if that's sustainable. What I found hilarious last night, though, as it pertains to the Cowboys, is all the conversation, at least I saw a lot of this online, which was Dak Prescott's injured. Okay, cue the Jimmy Garoppolo. Like, cue the Jimmy Garoppolo. Yeah. Guys, no, that's not happening. First of all, you're already paying Dak Prescott over $40 million a year. He's going to be out 4 to 6 weeks, maybe 6 to 8, who knows? But you're not going to, spend a first or second round draft pick to try to get Jimmy Garoppolo? Because that might be what it takes with the 49ers now have their own issues potentially at quarterback and might not want to get rid of him right away. Like, I don't see a big trade coming. Like, the Cowboys are just going to have to get creative here and get themselves out of this because there's no help. Like, who you gonna trade for? I have not heard one name that seems realistic.
Here is the problem with that. You know what happens October 13th? Jerry Jones turns 80. This is a big...
I'm surprised I don't have that marked down on my calendar.
I was going to tell you which week it was, but I couldn't do the math closely enough. There is a limited window here for Jerry Jones. So he might look at this season and say, we got to try and do it. I think he'd be crazy to do that. But if they make a move, say they could you get Jimmy for a 3rd round pick? Probably not after week 1.
No, not after week 1.
I think
now Jimmy's very important to the 49ers suddenly.
You're not excited for Mason Rudolph, who had a good preseason?
I've seen Mason Rudolph as the starter for the Steelers when Ben Roethlisberger was hurt. No, I'm not impressed by Mason Rudolph.
How about we pull Ryan Fitzpatrick out of the booth?
Oh, yes. The Amazon pregame show. Ryan
Fitzpatrick, you know that he's going to have a 400-yard game if he comes out of the booth.
He will have one 400-yard game, and he will have one 400-pick game. He will throw 400 interceptions in a game, too, and that's when all the goodwill will go out the window with Ryan Fitzpatrick. I'll say this about Fitzpatrick, and I know this could get me in trouble with the quarterback community because I know it's probably the hardest position to come off the street and learn, but Fitzpatrick has played for so many teams and known so many offenses. He probably knows a version of whatever they're running in Dallas.
So how old is Ryan Fitzpatrick now? He's got to be 40, right?
I mean, he's close, and he's played for 9 teams, I think.
So Kellen Moore watched Ryan Fitzpatrick while he was in high school. Kellen Moore, the Cowboys are.
Yeah.
Kellen Moore's 34. Can you imagine that combination?
He's 39. Well, Byron Leftwich is how old, and Tom Brady is 45.
Well,
I think Byron Leftwich is like 40.
Tom Brady's older than 45% of the coaches in the league. Kellen Moore's 34. That would be just awesome. Heck, Kellen Moore, put a helmet on. Somebody's got to step up here.
Yeah, Kellen Moore put a helmet on.
Cooper Rush was not good in that limited play last night.
First of all, do you think that Ryan Fitzpatrick would do? We're talking about why Ryan Fitzpatrick. See, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about ineptitude in the front office is what we're talking about. Because this just got so out of hand in such a hurry. And, you could point to 90% of teams in the NFL, if they lost their quarterback, their season would be over. I get it. But it didn't have to be compounded to this extent, where if your quarterback's going to be out for 6 to 8 weeks, maybe, then it feels like you could go up in flames. Right? You don't have enough offensive weapons, and the line's not good enough. And this, and that, and this, and that. Like, there's too many hurdles here for the Cowboys. So you can blame CeeDee Lamb or you could say Dak Prescott's injury prone. The only people that the Joneses should be looking at are themselves, because the roster on the offensive side was not built to withstand any hiccups whatsoever, and they just got 3 of them within the first week of the season.
Yeah, and the only person they should be looking at right now is Ryan Fitzpatrick. Because that post-game press conference, if he swags out and has the beard going and the Cowboys win a couple games, that'll be the feel-good story of the decade.
Ryan Fitzpatrick, he's got Chiefs-Chargers Thursday night. He's doing the pregame for Amazon Prime. He probably signed a contract, by the way. Do you think that he has a clause in his contract like, hey, if I get an offer, I'll be able to leave?
39. He's a baby in today's NFL quarterback market.
Hey, you're right.
I don't know when he can get on the field, but Fitzpatrick would be awesome.
I guess you could talk me into Ryan Fitzpatrick, maybe, but that's not I don't feel awesome about that.
Let's be fair. How many teams would be sunk if their starting quarterback broke their finger
again,
week
90% of them. I get it. It's a lot. But you don't have to make life even harder on yourself, which is what the Cowboys did this year. And like you said, you hate being right when everyone's right, which was they never replaced the weapons they lost on offense. Yeah. They never did a good enough job trying to shore up the offensive line. And they never, quite frankly, seems like half a second of thought into who should be the backup quarterback for them.
Nope.
That's a recipe for disaster. And especially because this was, I know we can talk about the NFC East and your Eagles and all of that, but to be honest, the NFC did not look like gangbusters yesterday. So you would have to think you don't want to squander an opportunity to make the playoffs when the NFC didn't really give you a lot of massive performances. I know it's week 1.
It's week 1 also. The Giants just beat the number 1 seed in the AFC last year. I'm not saying the AFC really showed out. Where were the interconference matchups that blew you away? I mean, the Cardinals are lost anyway. I don't care about that.
No, but the Chiefs looked amazing. The Chargers offense was a little up and down, but Herbert looks incredible. And the defense, like Khalil Mack coming up with 3 sacks in his debut, I thought looked really good. The Dolphins look fast. I mean, I still don't know about Tua, but I was really encouraged by the Dolphins put a smackdown on Bill Belichick and the Patriots. That's not a fluke at this point. That was pretty impressive. And I don't know. Maybe the Steelers are still frisky. I know the TJ Watt injury. The Bills look great.
The worst team in the NFC beat last year's best team in the AFC. I'm telling you, last year the NFC had a winning record against AFC. I think this storyline's a little overblown. We'll see. I
would say you'll be kicking yourself if you're seeing teams that are making the playoffs with either 500, well, you can't have a 500 record anymore, but 9-8 and stuff like that, 8-9. And if you're the Dallas Cowboys and could have had a shot to sneak in, but didn't take care of the glaring needs that were right in front of you that they never did.
I'm telling you, it doesn't matter. That line is so bad right now, and the receiving core is so bad. Ryan Fitzpatrick can jump out of the booth and have his best season ever. It's going to be hard. Do you really think there's an answer here?
I think they have to find an answer. They have to get creative. You've got Mike McCarthy and you've got Kellen Moore. You've got 2 offensive guys as your offensive coordinator and your head coach. You got to figure something out.
I don't know. I mean, that sounds great. That sounds perfect. No, but they don't.
Mike McCarthy's looking for the exit.
They lost a Hall of Fame left tackle. They screwed up wide receiver. I was wrong. I thought that maybe Dak can make up for that. He can't. And there's all sorts of other problems with this team too. Yeah, the defense was good, but let's not say just because they shut down a Tampa Bay team that was bad in the red zone. There's a lot of work to be done here.
Thank you for watching our video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to see more videos like this, just hit the bell.
Yeah, ring the bell.
Just hit the bell.